We were walking towards an Asian family. There were 7 of them. None of them were higher than my chest. Now, does that mean I think all Asian people are short? No, of course not. I know Asian people are taller than me. I'm just telling you these are the facts of this particular story. So the grandparents passed us, and then the parents passed us, and the children passed us. And my son slowed down, and he looked at me, and he goes, "Do you think Godzilla was just a normal-sized lizard?" And my daughter said, "Isn't that racist?" And I said, "We will figure that out when I'm done laughing. Because sometimes you just gotta let her buck."
I don't love everything that the Democrats do. I don't. I have notes. I went to the Cheesecake Factory recently. And I sat down for a meal at the Cheesecake Factory. I don't go often, and when I go, I like to enjoy myself. And I opened the menu, and there were calorie counts on the menu at the Cheesecake Factory. And that's a bigger jump scare than anything I've ever seen in any movie. And I know the Republicans didn't do that. That was us. And I guess the idea there is that they're trying to warn us that perhaps the meals at the Cheesecake Factory are not the healthiest meals available. And I think we all realized that when we agreed to eat at a restaurant called the Cheesecake Factory. Factory is the healthiest word in the name of that restaurant.
But let me offer you some advice that I wish someone had offered me before I had children, because I didn't know this, which is this. When you're traveling with your family, when you have children and you travel with said children through the airport, you can be randomly selected by TSA, who will suddenly decide to start peppering your children with questions to make sure that you are not kidnapping them. How fun's that? And I didn't know this was even a thing until it happened to my little family at Denver International Airport. We're traveling through the airport, ready to go. To give you an idea of my son Malcolm's desire to talk to strangers that day, let me explain to you his outfit. He was wearing headphones, not plugged into anything at all, fingerless gloves, and winter boots on a 95-degree day. I ask you, is that the outfit of a 3-year-old who'd like to dialogue with a stranger? I'd argue not. And yet, nevertheless, we're passing through security, and suddenly a TSA guy is in Malcolm's face. And he's just like, "Hey, son, what's your name?" And Malcolm's like, Malcolm. He goes, "Okay, good. Is that your brother over there?" He goes, Yeah. He goes, "What's your brother's name?" He goes, "Ellis." He goes, "Okay. Are those your parents?" And Malcolm goes, "I think so." Can you think of a worse answer than "I think so"? No is actually a better answer. No is like, it's an uncle, it's a godparent, produce some paperwork, get to the bottom of it. But "I think so." That's what they've been telling me since they took me from the campsite 4 days ago. And when I say otherwise, they hit me so very hard. So "I think so." And we were like, "Malcolm, tell that dude where your parents, what are you doing? Tell him, where are your parents?" And the guy's like, "Son, I'm gonna ask you one more time, and this is very important. Are those 2 your parents?" And Malcolm goes, "Uh-huh." Like clearly under duress. "Uh-huh, mm-hmm." And then they just let us through because they're TSA and they're inept. TSA is like, "Hey, what if we took the crew of a Times Square McDonald's, put them in charge of global security? What's everybody think? Good idea or not?" We get through the x-ray machine miraculously. I'm retrieving my bag, and this other dad who was in line, he came up to me and he goes, I'm not gonna lie, dude, that made me nervous. I go, made you nervous? If I don't get these 2 to Reno by Tuesday, I'm out $150K. That's my year, bud. That's my year. The exception to the rule of Malcolm's shyness is women. He likes talking to women. In fact, he'll only talk to women, which I so get. Men are the worst. If I had the option of never talking to a man again my entire life, I would take that option. But men keep talking to me, and it feels rude not to respond, so I have to engage. My son, he's under no such societal constraints. He can talk to whoever he wants to talk to, and he's decided that's only going to be women. So the other day, we were at the park, and we were playing Delivery Guys, because my son will only play working class games. Yeah. Delivery guys, firefighters, EMTs, construction workers. Some lets me know he doesn't respect what I do for a living at all. So we're playing Delivery Guys, and a woman comes running through the park, right where we're playing. She's got earbuds on, she's jogging, she's minding her own business, and my son Malcolm, he just goes, "Hey, you!" Yeah, like real Delivery Guy energy, you know? Just cat calls her, "Hey, you!" And she stops and takes her earbuds out. She's like, yeah, yes? He goes, "We're Delivery Guys." She goes, "Oh, yeah?" He goes, "Yeah, my brother, my dad, me, we're Delivery Guys." And she goes, "Well, what are you delivering?" And he goes, "We're on a break." Like, I'm not pretending to know my son's eventual sexual preference, but if he ever decides that it is in fact women, he's already gaslighting at a high school level. Once he figures out that women love it when you tell him to smile more, he's gonna crush. And I can feel a lot of women in the room not liking where that joke went. But I set up the joke by saying men are the worst, and then I ended the joke by giving an example of men being the worst. So I ask you, is it the joke that you don't like, or do you just hate foreshadowing?
I hit a cop car with my car. I don't recommend doing that. I was driving home with my fiance. We were just a few blocks from home. We were passing by this cafe that I go to from time to time. I noticed it peripherally that they were open later than usual. So I turned my head like, oh, they're open later than usual. When I turned back, the words police were getting closer and closer. I rammed into the cop car's bumper, and my fiance, to her credit, didn't say anything, but I could just feel everything she was thinking. I was like, you're right. You're absolutely right about all of it. The cop car, we're at a light, the cop car turns off to a side street. So then I turn to my fiance, like, should we just get the hell out of here? Like, it's like, no, we can't do that. So then I turn and follow the cop and pull up behind him. Now all of a sudden it's like I'm pulling him over. Like, maybe I work for the NYPD now. So then we're just sitting and waiting. Cop finally gets out, ambles over. First thing he says is, "Bad idea hitting a cop car." I was like, yeah, actually, it wasn't my idea. It just happened. Then he was kind of like pacing around. Like, remember when you were a kid and your parents were almost like searching for the punishment? They were beside themselves. So I'm waiting. Finally, he's like, fuck it, I don't want to deal with this. I was like, that was my solution. Then he goes, you were never here. Which I thought was almost existential. Like, are any of us ever really, truly here? Then he turns and walks back to his car. As he's about to get in, he turns back and says, oh, are you okay? I was like, yeah, we're fine. Are you okay? He's like, yeah. Gets into his car, drives away. I turn to my fiance and say, I don't know what these black folks are complaining about. That could not have been a more pleasant exchange. I felt safe. I felt protected. I felt like my life mattered.
That was dark. Speaking of dark, I'm black. I am. I'm black. My whole body's black. Y'all notice that? Except this part. Ain't that weird? This is weird. This is not black. This is very weird. I remember as a kid that they would ask me questions like, why you white on one side, black on the other? I was like, I don't know. I guess I ain't fully hit my growth spurt. I don't know why it works out though. Anytime I get pulled over, hey officer, I was. I understand you don't want to give me that loan. Before you say no, I just... No, it just comes in handy. So, that was stupid. That's what it deserved.
Dr. Pimple Popper. Another good one that makes you feel good. Again, we have these down days, these down weeks. Life gets tricky, man. People don't talk about it enough that just how much certain shows can just give you that mood boost that you're looking for. Could really turn the entire year around. Dr. Pimple Popper is a show where you're like, man, I needed this. I was having a weird off week. I missed my best bud's birthday. I was late on a cable payment. Then you turn on Pimple Popper and you're like, at least I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? At least I'm not walking into her office like, hey, I got a foot on my shoulder. You got any cream for the shoulder foot, Dr. Pimple Popper? It's like, Jesus, Grover, how'd you escape Sesame Street? Got out of your contract?
I like saying thank you to the pilot when I walk off the plane. I like doing that. How many people say thank you to the pilot when you get off the plane? All right. It's a decent amount, but it's not everybody. What's wrong with you? Why are you gonna be a jerk? That's all they want. That's all a pilot wants. If you fly, that's the first thing. As soon as they park, the door just flies open at the front. They're just like... Hey, did you notice how we didn't all die? You're welcome. You're welcome for that. I did that for you. And we all just shuffle off in our pajama bottoms and Crocs, like, don't make eye contact with me. So rude. That's all they want is the thank you for that job. They're up there. They're tucked in up there. They are tucked in with dress shoes the whole time. And we're back there with like half a in sweatpants. Like, nodding off on pills and tiny bottles of booze. They're wearing a goddamn sport coat up there for you. You ever look in a cockpit? It's a panic room. It's just a chamber. It's a chamber of anxiety for anybody that doesn't know. And they know all the buttons, all the switches. They know what to do. The windshield, that's arbitrary. That's for us. If a pilot sees something wrong out the windshield, we're dead. We're already dead. Like nobody's gonna get on a plane without a windshield. That's for you guys to feel all right. If something's going wrong out there, we're fucked, man. We're straight up. I'll tell you that. At the beginning, they get in there and just know. They're like, every switch, like, don't die, don't die, don't die. Will not die. We won't die here. Won't die if I do that. Better not die, better not die, better not die. Oh, here's the big old good luck lever. We need that. Don't die. Almost, if I didn't do this, we would have definitely died. Look, thank God, don't die. And here we go, not dying. And then we all just hung over, shuffling off like the landing was a little choppy. I don't know.
I also have a 14-year-old daughter, and I gave her a chore list with 3 words on it, and she goes, "Where's your chore list?" You ever had a kid say something to you that then they're serious, but then you almost ruin it because you laugh? That's when I was like, oh, God, what? And I just go, what did you say? And she goes, where's your... She slowed it down like I actually didn't hear her, you know? So I said, you know everything that happens in this house to make this home operate? Subtract the 3 things I asked you to do, and that is my chore list. Remember when you woke up in a bed, warm and not hungry? Check, check, check. I did that. So my chore list also has 3 words on it, and it says, keep her alive. And it expires in 4 years, so focus. She's 14 now. When she was 12, I started listening to podcasts about periods. And I know that seems creepy. I'm positive I'm on a list somewhere. But I never wanted to be the dad that had to send her to her mom to ask her all those questions. I don't want, that's a question for your mom. You know where to find me if you want to play catch. I mean, it's like ridiculous, right? So...
I think white people are the only race of people that like to be scared for fun. Like, you feel me? Not an attack. Doesn't make you bad. Makes you interesting. But not bad, but bungee jumping, skydiving, swimming with sharks, these are torture tactics. Some of you pay for them. That's a curveball. I just think white people get to have a different relationship with fear. Doesn't make anyone bad. I just think it's an interesting observation. White people can have a different relationship with fear. Like, I think white people are the only people you could walk up to and just be like, hey, you want to do something scary today? And y'all won't just outright say no. You feel me? You'll be like, well, what do you got in mind? You feel me? But like, you go to anybody of another race, they're like, no. But like, white people have follow-up questions sometimes. They're like, well, what are you thinking? Okay. Look at roller coasters, right? Theme park owners know white people love being scared so much, you'll pay for a picture of your own face terrified. That's their business model. That's how reliable it is. They were like, yeah, that's where we're gonna get the rest of the money. I've been in so many white homes and seen a framed picture of the entire family terrified. Why? Why is that even a thing? I haven't been in one black family's home and seen a picture of 4 black people absolutely terrified. And they're like, yeah, that's the time I got stuck up at gunpoint, right there. That's us. This is where I tried to sell my kids for my own life. So wild to me, man. And understand what I'm saying, because I understand I'm generally speaking, right? I'm speaking in generalities. I understand there's special case scenarios for everything. So please, like, I'm not being irresponsible with this. Just be on the same page with me. I'm just saying, generally speaking, though, that kind of holds true. I'm saying, generally speaking, I feel like white people feel fear so rarely that y'all schedule it as a vacation activity. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, literally put it on a schedule. You're like, at 12, we're gonna have lunch. At 1, we're gonna pet a tiger. You're like, what the f*** are you talking about? A tiger? Huh? You know what no one black has ever said to me? I wanna go on a safari. Not once. I got so many black friends, no one's ever wanted to go. It's our country, and we're like, nah. But I have so many white friends that want to go. Doesn't make them bad. I'm just saying it's an interesting difference that you can spot and go, oh, okay. Why doesn't a safari sound insane to everybody? I didn't realize it was something we were so, like, polarized on. I thought we were all of the same mind, like, that's f***ing crazy. And apparently, we don't agree. I never understood, like, why it isn't crazy. You want to go to the zoo without the walls? That's what we want to do? You want to take away my favorite part of the zoo? The part where they can't get me? That's what we're taking away? Oh, all right. Every time I go to the zoo, people are looking at the animals. I'm looking at the structures. I'm like, that's a good wall. Like that net. Love that glass. I've never understood it. Why doesn't a Safari sound dangerous to everybody? It's not even a safe web browser. You feel me? You ever open up Safari in front of somebody with Firefox? Like, what the f are you doing, man?
Having a disability it's interesting because people always want to help me with stuff. And that's so kind. I do appreciate it. But here's the deal. For the most part, I got it, you know? And the other thing about me is I'm not afraid to ask you for help. Like, I know my limits. Like, let's say there's a pot of hot soup that needs to be carried. I'm like, hey, please, you know, thank you. Hey, I appreciate that, man, thank you. But what I've come to find is that more often than not, people are like, hey, can I pour that for you? And then they spill it, and I'm like, well, I could have done it. And you robbed me of my independence. That's actually the funny part, guys. Cheers, everyone.
And long before my mom had dementia, she had retired from teaching, and she had taken on some interesting retirement hobbies. She had started to screenshot the selfies I would post on Instagram, and then she would print them out and go to Kohl's and buy those 30 photo collage frames and frame my selfies. But I didn't know she was doing this until I visited home one day and I just walked into a museum. Of my narcissism. And my mom crept up behind me. She was like, "Do you love it?" What is this, a haunted house? This is horrifying. I'll never take a selfie again. This is like an intervention. But here's the thing. Nobody had taught my mom how to crop a screenshot. So all of these printed, framed photos show her phone battery percentage. If somebody texted her as she took the screenshot, it's up there. There's a framed photo somewhere of my face with a text from my ex to my mom like, "Your daughter just in a box." Please advise.
You know, there was a thing I read recently that was, there was a woman in Decatur, Georgia. She heard some buzzing. You're gonna love this one then. She had 120,000 bees living in her ceiling. This is true. You can Google it later. Just put in 120,000 and bee, it'll autocorrect bees. And I don't know about you guys, Denver, but I feel like if I see 5 bees, I'm like, there's a lot of bees here. We should do something about our bee problem. But you know, me, maybe I'm some liberal coastal elite mother who notices bees, you know? Well, let's say 10,000 bees. Wow, 10,000 bees coming and going from your house, doing what they do, eating leaves and shit. I don't know much about bees' lives or what they eat. That definitely seems like enough bees to be like, bees. No? What about 20,000 bees? That's 2 times 10,000 bees, which already seemed like a lot to me. No? 30,000 bees? I I talked to a bee person. 30,000 bees is 9 pounds of bees. That's a healthy baby boy of bees. Definitely seems like enough bees to be like, we have bees here. No? 40,000 bees! 40,000 bees! That is a golden doodle of bees. Woof, woof, there are bees here. No, we're not noticing them yet? 50,000 bees, 50,000 bees. That's Dodger Stadium of bees. Each bee has its own seat. Adorable, but a lot of bees. Empirically, a lot of bees. What, 60,000? What are you talking about, 60,000 bees and we haven't noticed them? That's a Nissan Juke filled with bees. And they're packed in tight, they're holding each other, tip to tail, tip to tail. They could drive the thing if they could figure it out, but they can't because they're bees. Nary a peep from this woman at 60,000 bees. It takes 2 Nissan Jukes filled with bees before this woman is like, there appear to be bees here. And that's America, guys.
And if you get to the point in your life when you wake up one morning and think, you know, I need a chimp. You're doing too much. Chimpanzees are horrible animals. If you've ever read a newspaper story about someone who's been attacked by a chimpanzee, the wounds are always horrific. And they're always the same. Because chimpanzees are born with this thing called an attack protocol. Chimpanzees are born knowing how to kill you. The first thing a chimpanzee does when it attacks you, and I'm going to tell you, I want you to know. They say that when a bear attacks you, you're supposed to make yourself look as physically imposing as you possibly can and speak very soothingly. The trial and error that went into figuring that out is written in the blood of campers. Bear! Mersey notes and dozy notes and little emsy timey. Don't sing pop songs from the 30s. Next! But bears are so stupid. Bears think we all walk around with shit in our pants. Because everyone they've ever caught well, we're 12 for 12, you tell me. Let's just eat the top half and go find some garbage. Should we tell them we speak English? Why? So we can talk about the shit in their pants? Here's your head.
But when you debate your life, when you go back and forth in your life, you don't know if you're gonna live or die. You realize a lot of things. Great things that happen in your life and terrible things that happen in your life. And one thing that stood out to me is my parents never told me they loved me till I was 29 years old. And it really messed with me in the hospital, right? So before I get into that story, I gotta tell you about my parents. If you haven't seen my last special, my dad is black, born and raised in Louisiana, has a PhD in nuclear physics, and served our country in the Army, people. Right. Now, in the last special, he was 75. Now he's 78, and he hasn't changed. He's still black and has swag. He still walks around the house like this, you know what I mean? And he's always laughing like, yeah. And always pointing at random shit that's not there. Just like, Now, my mom, she was born and raised in Korea, South Side. Now we know who doesn't watch the news in his room. I said it in my last special, Blasian. It's tough having an Asian mom because if they think it, they say it, they have no filter. My mom just turned 70 and now all bets are off. She does not care. I never thought my mom could be worse. My mom won't even say people's names to me anymore because she would rather describe them to me. She calls me the other day and goes, you know what? I like your friend, he nice. I go, which one? She goes, fat boy, small feet. But I knew exactly who she was talking about. Because with my mom will say things that make you mad. She will say things that make you want to fight. But my mom really feels that she can say anything to anybody. Because it's a true. Oh, you don't like true? Why you mad? It's a true. Do I lie? Do I lie? My mom got in a fight with my wife. Now, full transparency, my wife cooks like once every couple of, once. So my mom walks into our new house and goes, oh, what a beautiful kitchen for no cooking. I go, Mom, you can't say that in my house. Nuh-uh, not to my wife. She goes, why? It's a true. You don't like true? And then to me and my wife, she goes, do I lie? Do I lie? I look at my dad for help. He's like, walk away, son, walk away.
I love being a mom, I do. I'm a pretty good mom because the first decision that I had to make for my daughter, it was the right decision. My daughter, her due date was 9/11, and honestly, I was just like any other day, like literally any other day. She has a lot on her plate. She already has 2 moms. We don't need to give her a September 11th birthday. So I went in there and I told the doctor, I was like, hey, can we either like speed this up or really slow it down? And he was all for it in a way where I was like, this seems wrong. He's like, yeah, let's do this. He gave me all the drugs. I pushed so hard, I broke my body. I had so many stitches, couldn't walk for 6 weeks after. And my daughter was born at 11:45 p.m. on September 10th. Yeah, thank you. So, obviously, 9/11 we will never forget. But unfortunately, 9/10 is my 9/11.
Yeah. It's such a crazy time to like be a parent because we're doing things so different, right? Like now you can choose your parenting style like you used to choose a Mortal Kombat fighter. Our parents only had one style. It was survival. That was it. They just had to make it through. But we chose conscious parenting, me and my husband, conscious parenting, which is annoying. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's annoying because it's not permissive. It's literally realizing every way in which you affect a tiny human life. And you have to be so aware of everything, and it's so hard because you want to fight them. You know you shouldn't. You know it's not their fault, but you find yourself getting frustrated at the craziest things. Because I would just be like, why can't you use a spoon? Give my son a spoon, he's like... No, you crackhead. It's just yogurt everywhere now. And the stakes just get higher and higher as you go along, what you have to teach them, what you have to be patient with, because now we're at potty training. Literally, there was one time my son made full-on eye contact with me as he pooped on my living room floor. And as a conscious parent, I was like, way to listen to your body, little man. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? He's a kid, he doesn't know any better. What am I gonna roll up a newspaper, bang him on the head with it, push his face in it? No, bad baby! I would call the cops on myself if I did that. I'm like, you gotta come get me, I finally broke. But here's the amazing thing about conscious parenting, that they don't tell you, you learn as you do it. The more you consciously parent your kid, the more it heals all of your crap. Yeah, it really does. Because you end up parenting the way you wish you had been parented. I found this out in the moment with my son because we do affirmations every morning. I know, it's adorable. Don't get it twisted, it's Snoop Dogg affirmations. I want to thank me. No, it's a great affirmation. No, Snoop Dogg has a kid show. If you don't know, it's amazing. Yeah, right? Doggyland. If you don't know about it, watch it. He plays a character named Bow Wizzle. You're welcome. The songs all slap. You're welcome. So we were doing our Snoop Dogg affirmations, and my son has that cute little toddler voice, you know what I mean? Like that, like I was like, say, I am strong. And he's like, I am strong. Like, say, I am brave. He's like, I am brave. And then I felt it, like all the stuff I didn't get. You know what I mean? In that moment, I felt that. And like, before I knew it, I was like, say, I am loved. I gotta call your grandma. I didn't even see that coming, man. And it's so crazy now being a boy mom. Because the microscope is on us, man. We are underneath such a microscope, everything we do. And I'm fine with it, because I think if we change the game, we could really change how things work out in the world. I really do. I don't mind it, you know what I mean? And my girlfriends were on it right away. The second they found out that I was having a little boy, they were like, it's all up to you. You gotta fight the patriarchy. And I was like, can I teach him the alphabet first? I can, I just gotta be real intentional with it, you know what I mean? Like, A is for accountability, B is for bodily autonomy, and C is for consent. Repeat it to mommy. You have to be aware of these things, you know what I mean? And I think the thing that's hard now is that there's so many opinions on parenting now, and you don't know where to go, you know what I mean? And as a parent, it can be hard to take the opinion of somebody who doesn't have kids, for instance. I found myself getting frustrated at people that would give parenting advice that don't have kids. And I felt the way that a lot of parents do. Like, if you're not living this life, how do you know what to tell me to do? Until I realized the reason why I should listen to these people is that they may not have kids, but they are coming from a perspective of a person who experienced a certain type of parenting. And I really had to think, what would my son say about my parenting? And what would I want him to say about my parenting? Not all of it, some people are dumb. Don't listen to everyone. Because I did have a girlfriend that was like, you better raise him right. And I'm like, what did you think the plan was? What did you think? I think I got pregnant and I was like, I will raise him evil. Go forth and destroy my child. Of course, I want to raise a good human being, but I also don't like being told what to do. So the second she said that, there was a part of me that wanted to be like, nope. I was gonna, but then you had said what you said. Now I gotta make sure he has a misogynistic podcast by the age of 7. Just sitting there with some big old headphones like, as a alpha male. And I'm behind him with my problematic boy mom self like, that's right, baby, these hoes ain't loyal. It's just me and you forever. I could never be that mom. Could never be that mom. There was a lot of things that I saw people doing that I knew I wasn't gonna do as a mom. Like the one thing I don't do is boys will be boys. I don't do that with my son. It's too permissive. There's no equivalent for little girls. So I don't allow it. And you know, the parents that I've seen do it, it gets out of hand real quick. You just know it's gonna snowball to bigger things, like boys will be boys. He stabbed the babysitter. He's a boy. He's learning to express himself. And I know you're not supposed to judge other parents, but I do. I do. Only when I see them doing things that are detrimental to their children or to parenting in general. I can't help but pick up on that now. Like there was a woman who put out a video and it went viral. And this was the whole video. She goes, I'm gonna teach my son how to cook so your daughter can't trick him into a relationship with her cooking. First of all, don't nobody want your dusty son. First of all, don't act like a basic skill is something to brag about. And second, how long you been out the dating pool, ma'am? What do you think is gonna happen? Do you think I'm just gonna leave a trail of empanadas that lead to an altar? You're gonna be like, oh no, I'm married. What kind of idiot did you raise? There were so many things, and when, me and my husband, when we talked about how we were gonna do this, that we decided we were just not gonna do, right? And there were certain things we promised ourselves that we would do. Because there was a lot to consider. Not only do we wanna raise a good human being, but also, my son is multicultural. Like I said, he's mixed. He's half Puerto Rican, half white, hard tea. That Midwest white hits different, you know what I'm saying? Like I know there's white people here, but if my husband walked in, even y'all would be like, that's a white guy. Like, you'd be like, I'm white, but that's unseasoned chicken that just walked through the front door. That is level 10 white. Don't y'all come for my porcelain king. There's a couple guys in the audience that are like, porcelain king. I'm gonna use that later. But I had to think about that, man. Like, my son is mixed. Or as I like to say, his DNA's been colonized. That is my favorite way of saying it. Because people are always like, wait a minute. She snuck in history. I have to think about that, though. Honestly, as the mother of a mixed child, I have to think about the fact that a lot of his childhood is going to be me explaining my half of his makeup and the history of those people. And I know he's gonna have questions, because all kids have questions, and I'm petrified. Because I don't know if you've heard the level of questions these children are asking, but these are Jeopardy level questions. And I am, quite honestly, not prepared. I'm just waiting for the day where he's like, what happened to the indigenous people of the Caribbean, Mommy? And then I just look at his dad. This is your time to shine, sir! My poor son is walking around like, I come from the oppressor and the oppressed. I'm the problem and the solution. I'm like, that's right, baby. Also, don't take no blankets from daddy's side of the family. If you got that last part, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Because the amount of times I'd looked out at an audience of people that's like, what's wrong with their blankets? What's wrong? What's the thread count on the blankets? I'm proud of my son. He's doing great. He speaks English and Spanish. And yeah. Humble brag. And really, look, if you're in the audience and you're Latino, Latina, Latine, Latinx, any of them, and you don't speak Spanish, that is okay. It doesn't make you lesser. It doesn't mean that people should make you feel lesser. Yeah.
And this is strange, but my entire family and I, including my mom, are actually world champion foosball players. Yeah, thank you. And my mom is in the Foosball Hall of Fame. Yeah. But every time my mom gets a new nurse, the nurse will always ask her about her life. And my mom always goes, well, I'm in the Foosball Hall of Fame. And every nurse goes, sure you are. Mm-hmm. And I'm always standing there like, oh, yeah, no, I know that sounds made up, but I swear it's real. And the nurse is like, hey, you don't have to. And I'm like, lady, I swear to God, I can show you her trophies, I can show you a video of her playing. And that's when the nurse starts to look at the other nurses like, oh, does the daughter have dementia too? It's like a T-Mobile family plan of dementia. It's like too weird to believe. And my mom growing up was also somebody you did not want to cross. My parents got divorced in the 90s, back when there were home phone answering machines. And before the divorce, our answering machine message was my dad saying, you've reached the Cooks, please leave us a message. And then after the divorce, my mom had changed it to her just blasting Alanis Morissette's You Oughta Know. So every time my dad would call, my mom would let it go to the machine so that if he wanted to leave a message for her, every time, he first had to sit through the lyrics, and I'm here to remind you of the mess you left when you went away. I mean, that's a bad move right there. That takes balls. Because it's not like that was just the message for when my dad called. That was the message for literally anybody who called our house. So after a while, we started to get messages from people like, hey, this is Dave from Blockbuster. And I'm here to remind you. Your Space Jam VHS is overdue. Really sorry about whatever you're going through.
First off, I realized when I moved back to the suburbs, I came in with the wrong energy because I came in with city energy. I was living in Los Angeles for just about 17 years. And if you, like, city energy, as you may know, like, you just get real used to things that you shouldn't be getting used to. Like, you shouldn't be casual about some of the stuff that's happening. But you do, because you're in a city, and that volume just slowly gets turned up, you know, just frog into boiling water, until you're just coming in just real loose, saying shit like, man, that guy with the sword is out in front of 7-Eleven again. He's always saying something wild like, and I'll do it again. I don't doubt you will, my man. I'm sorry, sir. I figured it out. It takes him about 9 seconds to go from the red box machine to the propane refill tank. So if you time it out just right, you can get in and out while I'm seeing you. Makes that Slurpee taste that much sweeter, I'll tell you that. Well, that's a little sugary trophy for you for living. Watch out, though. If he nicks you, you're going to have to get a tetanus shot. That's never any fun. So that's the energy I moved back with. Like I just came in hot because I knew we moved there like end of September, right? And that's when I got into town. I'm like, this is how I'm winning over this neighborhood. I'm gonna move into the suburbs. This is how I'm gonna win over the neighborhood. I'm gonna be full-size candy bars guy on Halloween. That's how I'm gonna be. Everybody loved full-size candy bar guy. As a kid, you're like, that guy rules. Don't egg his house. This guy rules. Everybody loves full-size candy bar guy, and that's how I was gonna start it that first Halloween. I'm gonna be full-size candy bar dude. Here's the thing I did not realize, because I was coming in with hot city energy, is that in the suburbs, when you just show up in the beginning of a pandemic with out-of-state plates, and then just try to be full-size candy bar guy without having children of your own, it has the inverse effect. I'm just sitting out on my porch under the one light that was working because I didn't get around to fixing the rest of them, just waving king-size Snickers going, how can I tell if you're Spider-Man unless you come closer? Just waving children in like I worked the ramp at the airport. Like, Hulk wouldn't be scared.
I think about having kids. I do. I'm 37. I could have kids. I think about it. Until literally every time I call my brother, who has 3 boys under the age of 12. Yeah. Every time I call him, 30 seconds into our phone call, his entire life turns into the back half of the film Point Break. We'll just be chatting along, and then out of nowhere, he's like, 1 second, what's in your hands? Show me those hands! One's on the roof, one's on the roof. Where'd you get a Nixon mask? That joke does better if you've seen Point Break. I think it's crazy how quickly in life we separate children on whether or not they have a chance at life. We do. You may be like, what do you mean? What I mean is reading groups. That's when there's 6 and we're like, split them up. These are the maybes and these are just keep them busy. But they don't say like which one's the smart group and which one's the dumb group. They're cute with it. They're like, you're the red group and you're the blue group. But even at 6, you know. You're like, shit. My group loves glue. We can't get enough of this stuff. We're doing like glue charcuterie, you know? Like, why don't you take the glue stick, dip it in some wet cement? Yeah, it freaking rocks, okay? Maybe we should read a little bit. And they're like, we would, but remember how last reading we glued all the books shut? Damn it. We did and it rocked. It was fun. I remember one time, our teacher went to split it up. She's like, red group over here, blue group over here. And my buddy was like, we're not the blue group, we're the glue group, right? And I was like, no. We shouldn't be proud of what we're doing. We should be ashamed. This story is just dedicated to the fallen brothers of the glue group. A lot of them aren't here anymore. Yeah, they blew up a lot of garages. Yep. They went out doing what they did best, guys. Just not reading instructions at all.
Remember the first couple months of the lockdown as just some real dark days? Yeah, I just thought I'd bring you back there. I remember the first couple of months of that lockdown, the whole world's caving in around me. All of us, we don't know what the hell's going on. You lost your job, you're locked in your house with your kids. Just washing your mail and I tell you, man, I found myself doing all these childhood activities, like doing puzzles and playing board games and crying. Maybe throw in some long showers. Sometimes I'd cry in the shower. Just multitasking. I'll tell you this about the pandemic, like, I would rather cry than do a puzzle. I'd rather eat a puzzle. 1,000 pieces, no problem. And then in the morning, I at a rustic farmhouse. Which is weird, because it was a puzzle of a kitty. Something ain't right down there. Something's off. So stupid. All right.
I just don't trust anyone who's never worked a job where they thought about killing themselves at least once. Like, at least once. Like, once. You're just like, this could all end, and I can end it right now. I'm not even clinically depressed right now, but what if? What if I just killed myself, That thing where you're like, God damn it, I got 5 hours left in this shift. Or, swallow 25 aspirin, I don't know, whatever it takes. When you're bar backing, all you're doing is washing glasses and putting them away. Just stack them, put them away. And there's 2 or 3 bartenders that are slammed, and you're not allowed to make drinks. And there's beers and ice in front of you, and taps and liquor bottles behind you, and people are just like, just get me a drink. Just pour some whiskey in a cup. It's right there. There's a beer right there. God damn it. You're like, I can't. Please stop yelling at me. I'm not allowed. I'll be fired. Please, sir. What are you, a stupid monkey? You're just like, God damn it. I remember looking down at a stirring fork and being like, all it would take is just 2 right there. Just right there, and just bleed out in front of this dickhead. Looking at him, sit on a stool and be like, you did this! Just break all his drinks in half with my face and slide down the bar. Clean this up! Just die right there, staring at him, still dying. All behind the bar. You're cleaning this up, sir. You are. I don't know what you said. It crosses the mind, Absolutely. But I think those jobs hone you and make you into the person you're supposed to be. If you've never worked a crap job, that's bad, because you're not your truest self, I think it's like MMA or something, right? It kind of makes you, tough in your own way and find the real you. Like, I was always a funny person growing up, I was always class clown and stuff, but I would get accidentally hilarious when I was a bartender. When I was slammed, and stuff would just come out of me, that would kill. And I'd be like, I was just being serious. What, that was funny? Like, I remember being so busy, in the weeds, as we call it in the industry, the folks here know, I lost my sight. Like, I don't know if it was sweat in my eyes, I don't know if I was dehydrated, but my eyesight went blurry, and all I saw were colors and shapes. That's it. And I'm just pushing drinks out and hoping I'm making the right change and feeling credit cards like Braille to see who it is. It was awful. And then some dick somewhere in front of me goes, am I invisible? And I said sincerely, who said that? And the whole bar cracked up. And I'm like, yeah, throw him out. And they did. The guy's like, hey! Threw him out the door. I am Caligula.
When he and I got together, we had that conversation about labels, because I felt ready to be called boyfriend and girlfriend, and he goes, you know, being in my 40s, I feel like I'm a little old to be called somebody's boyfriend, but if you call me your man friend, it sounds like I'm not allowed in your playground. I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna call me? And he goes, I'll just be like, this is my lady. And I was like, well, we're not at a Renaissance fair. So, no. Also, I can't use the equivalent of that. I can't be like, Mom, Dad, I'd like you to meet my lord. And he's also a comedian. My ex-husband was actually a comedian, too. I can't stop right. No, I'm just telling you. My love life is a Chipotle. Just keep the eating and all under one roof. It's very convenient, very farm to table, you know. They're right there. And I wasn't much of a jealous girlfriend in my 20s, but then some switch flipped in my 30s. And now when I see somebody hit on the person I'm with, I just feel myself anamorph into the cast of Jersey Shore. I am ready to brawl. And he does get hit on. When he walks on stage, women whistle at him. And at comedy clubs, there's usually a security guard in the back to kick people out in case they heckle. So at his shows, I've just started to stand next to the security guard. And if I see a woman laughing too hard at one of his jokes, I just walk up and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. He's my favorite comedian. Well, he's my lord. Scoot, beat it. I feel like most people assume I'm exaggerating during that joke, but if you follow me online, you'll know I posted a video a few months ago of a woman who sat in the front row of one of my shows, and after I told that joke, she goes, your boyfriend is my favorite comedian. We've seen him like 8 times. And I was like, lady, did you not just hear that this is when I go snooky on somebody? What are you doing? And she doubled down. She's like, he's so cute. He's so hot. And he responds to my Instagram comments. And that's when I took out my hoop earrings. All the men in the crowd were looking around like, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. It's like, yeah, time to f*** around and find out, madam. Get up here.
I know a lot of you saw me get 3rd place on America's Got Talent. Thank you. America's Got Talent is an amazing show to be part of. It is definitely a little weird because it's the largest talent show in the world. But it's like comedy versus whatever, right? Like, do you like one-legged unicyclists? How about 2 dogs in a duffel bag? Doesn't make any sense, this show. And I don't mind getting 3rd place. That's actually great. You know, I'm touring all over, and, well, I'm here tonight. Well, because this is what 3rd gets you. Yeah, f*** you, Hollywood. I'm going to Greenwood Village. Yeah. Vegas can suck it too. I'd rather be here any damn day. Well, I live here. It's great, you know. Again, 3rd place is amazing, but the thing is, me getting 3rd place just proves once again that Americans have no idea how to vote. Every chance you get, you f it up, man. Oh, well, this guy seems like a real dumbass, huh? That's my guy, yeah. America's Got Talent, though, is they want to like get you to say crazy things in these interviews, so they'll be goating me like, so Josh, do you think that you're funnier than a little girl that can sing Pavarotti? I sure hope so. I know I could hip check her in the hallway, and I never wanted to beat up kids more in my life. Little talented, get out of here. I will say this about America's Got Talent: it's very inclusive to the disabled community. Yeah. I mean, some people call it exploitation, but that's. No, it is a very inclusive show. Like, you know, I have cerebral palsy, and there's amazing acts like Cody Lee. He's blind and autistic. Man, he's amazing. Such an amazing talent. And then, like, it just all walks of life, like ballerinas with no arms, and like all the way down to magicians. I'm not sure what spectrum that is, but they're definitely on it. Again, I don't mind getting third place, but do you understand how humiliating it is to lose to a magician? I've never been more embarrassed in my whole life, I'm telling you.
We were at a restaurant. We were at a vegetarian restaurant. Lot of people. I didn't know all of them. And I did. We're there, the group, and I made the mistake of casually mentioning I was not vegetarian. And this one dude, most people are cool. One dude, what? You'll eat a steak? Yeah. Oh, but you don't want to watch them murder the cow. Nailed it. I love my brother. I don't want to watch my parents. You don't have to drag everything back to the point where it's awful. Everything is awful eventually. So I know a couple from back home, back east. The husband did not get vaccinated. The wife did get vaccinated. The husband got COVID. The wife did not get COVID. Do you know why? Because the husband was standing in front of the wife when the wind blew the COVID at them. You can be wrong. It's okay. When did that become illegal? You can make a mistake. You don't lose time off of your life. I was at a yard sale, not to brag. Yeah, I'm a big shot. I go to yard sales. No, we're at a yard sale, and there was this stack of old People magazines. People magazines that were old, not Old People magazine. Not like Matlock Watcher, Denture Enthusiast, and my favorite, Extremely Legal. And there was a People magazine from 1986, and the cover story was, "The Most Respected Man in America, Reader's Poll." You know who it was? Bill Cosby. Reagan came in second. True. We made a mistake. We didn't know. He was the most respected man in America. And then he went to prison. And then they let him out. I think they were afraid he was going to commit suifrazofrisms. I went to high school in the 1980s. Every guy in my graduating class had a mullet. Seemed like a good idea at the time. You look in my yearbook now, it looks like I went to high school with a lesbian separatist militia. One day we'll be like that about vaping. Seemed like a good idea. The great taste of steam. And the ultimate example of we didn't know. Michael Jackson. We didn't know. And he didn't give us any signs. Who would have thought that a glow-in-the-dark skeleton who dressed like Napoleon and lived by himself in an abandoned amusement park with other people's children and a feral chimp would have such a creepy dark side? So I was in the airport the other day, and I see this really sweet sight. I see a woman, she's walking with her little boy, and the little boy is walking with his little dog. And it was just like, boop, boop, boop. It was so sweet. And the only thing that was interesting about it to me was that the woman was covered in tattoos, just completely sleeved on both arms, huge plate across her back. And I understand that's normal now. That's culture. I'm just glad it wasn't culture when I was that little boy. Just thinking about the tats my mom would have gotten. Pack of merits in an astrology magazine. Big Gothic font across her chest. Can I have 5 goddamn minutes to myself, please? And don't think I'm not going to tell your father what you did when he gets home from work. Although God knows when that's going to be. Because it's Thursday night and he got his paycheck, so he's down at the bar with his friends, buying everybody rounds like we got all the money in the world, and then he's gonna come home and to me that we're broke, like I haven't seen a $20 bill since Johnson was the president. I'm sorry, Mrs. Gould, we're all out of back. Well, find somebody else, I'm still angry.
Now, I don't want to be controversial, but I actually think that sports are a treacherous place for little girls. You know, like, I played volleyball against OJ's daughter growing up. Chill, I'm still alive. No, I did. I played volleyball against OJ's daughter growing up after he got out of jail the first time. For murder. It was crazy. He came to like all the games for 2 years after. And I'll tell you what, it was wild being 10 years old and seeing him on the sidelines. Because sometimes after I would score, I'd just look over at him and be like, wow, we're both killers.
My entourage, my grandma and her friends, yeah, they're in their 90s, dude. you don't feel old around them. Like when I turned 40, I had a panic attack. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it, I'm 40. Around them, they're like, what? What? You're just a child. You're still a child. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still a child. But I feel bad for them because they don't have that in their life. Like when they turn 90, they don't have anybody making them feel better. Like they don't have a friend that's like 150 to tell them that, you know what I mean? When they're like, I can't believe it. I am 90. They don't have a 150-year-old friend like,
My mom was a pediatric nurse, and so if she didn't have anybody to like watch me on the weekend, she would just like bring me to work with her. You know, it was a pediatric floor. There was a lot of kids there that I would make friends with, and then they would eventually die over and over and over and over and over again. That was my life. And all the other nurses were like psyched that like, you know, Barbara's kid is here, so they'd always give me jobs to do. My main job was delivering blood to the lab, which breaks my mind now. Like now, in order to touch blood in a hospital, you have to be in like a spacesuit, you know? I was just like 6 years old and they just handed me a hot bag of blood. And I was like, I'm on an adventure. I get to take the elevator, that was very exciting. And then I would just like walk around the basement looking for the lab and get lost eventually and then just like knock on a door and hand someone the blood and they'd be like, what is this? Who are you? I'm like, sorry, can't talk to strangers, and like run away. A lot of misdiagnoses at that hospital.
I didn't grow up with positive reinforcement, so I don't know how to be encouraging without sounding like I'm talking to a pet, like, who's a good husband? Off the couch, who's a good husband?
I got married 2 years ago. But we didn't go on our honeymoon until last year. Yeah. We went to Italy. Yeah. Boy, they are Italian over there. You think you're prepared for it, because like it's Italy, and then you're sitting at a cafe in Rome, and the server comes over and he's like, okay, so first of all, we know do spaghetti. And you're sitting there like, oh my God. The racist didn't go far enough this time.
I don't actually worry about my boyfriend cheating on me. I feel like men's bodies start to really turn on them in their 40s. He has to wake up every 2 hours in the night to pee. And when I see him in the morning with bags under his eyes, I hug him and I go, babe, I'm sorry you didn't sleep well. And then I think, you're too exhausted to cheat on me. You're not getting enough REM to pull off 2 relationships. I like you slow like this. Can catch you if I need to. Get back here. But now the second I see him start to reach for melatonin, I'm like, the f*** are you resting up for, huh? You stay sleepy.
Talking about kids and marriage, where a lot of people would make graphic jokes about how those children were conceived, how they were brought into the world. I will not be doing that because my husband is a very private person. He would have you know that we reproduce asexually. Like amoeba. He is so uptight about this kind of thing that he will not even send me any flirty texts. I try. A couple weeks ago, I texted him, hey there, looking pretty sexy today. He replied, received. with a period. I said, what are you worried about? We're married. He said, you're not thinking. What about this? What if we got into legal trouble and our phones got subpoenaed and our texts to one another were read aloud in open court? I said, okay, if that scenario played out, we would have a lot bigger issues than a couple of eggplant emoji.
I love being married. I know that's weird to hear from a male comedian, you know? We're always just like, I'm married, brr. Like you failed. Like, oh no, you found someone to love you, you gross fat sack of trash. That's a failure, really? Were you gonna be surfing the seas of at some point? You creep. I don't think that was gonna happen. I think she saved you from hell. I think that's what happened. When people talk about like the best things about marriage and the worst things about marriage, that's it. Never the in-between. They talk about the worst, which is what? You'll fall out of love with each other, or you're stuck with the same lover your whole life, you know? Oh no. Or, you know, the best, which is you have someone who loves you for the things you hate about yourself. That's amazing. And you have a best friend that you that's cool, you know? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But we don't talk about the awesome little things in between. Like you have someone to mess with the rest of your life. And to get rid of you, they have to involve the law. You're trapped. And I'm not saying do it all the time. Don't, you know, be abusive or every once in a while, do a little razz, right? Here's a free one. Did you guys know that if you're in public and you're holding hands with someone and you say some complete insanity, they're a part of that insanity now? They're on Team Insane. People look at them, they're like, you have sex with this man? You're with him?
Like, I'm definitely the kind of person, like, he has to put up with my flaws, too. And I'm definitely the kind of person that, you know, I think the hardest thing he has to put up with is the fact that my mood depends on your tone. You don't have to tell me. I know it's toxic. I'm aware. I'm working on it. It's not fun, you know what I mean? To be the kind of person that's always like, what'd you say? And at this point, we've established that when a woman says, what'd you say? She's not asking you to repeat what you said. She is asking you to rethink what you said.
I don't usually mind our age gap, but there is that new filter on TikTok where couples are posting pictures together, and then a filter goes across the screen, and it shows you what you'll look like together in 50 years. Like it ages you. So I did that with a picture of me and my boyfriend, and when the filter went across the screen, it just made him disappear. It was just me holding an urn. I was like, what? No, please. And my boyfriend was like, I want to see the picture. I was like, oh, my phone died. And so did you. What am I going to do? He does hate that he looks older than me. He's been trying to get me to look older faster. I think he wants to, like, microwave my face. On my birthday, as a prank, he hid all of my expensive skin creams, and when I opened my bathroom cupboard, there was just a pack of cigarettes. Like a tanning bed coupon. Well, be careful what you wish for. You're gonna wake up next to Mick Jagger. I have been telling my single friends that they should date somebody older than them. It's the best. They got their lives together. They're financially secure. My boyfriend has a lake cabin. You think I give a shit that he has a fake hip? I don't.
I'm getting old. And you never know how you're going to find out that you're getting old. But it comes for all of us. I heard a Vampire Weekend song in a blood pressure commercial. And I am currently on that blood pressure medication. I don't know what happened to me. I used to be beautiful. I used to be young and beautiful. My body was perfect. I could eat Taco Bell and then go to the gym and I was fine. I could do that. I could do these things. And now, if I eat a piece of pizza, I can't read.
He hesitated to ask me out when we first met because I'm 3 inches taller than he is. And he said, I know a lot of women don't want to date shorter guys. I said, when I was single, I was goal-oriented. I said, look, if I can just find a man who is loving, who is supportive, who respects my boundaries by not asking me how much money I spent at Target. I don't care if he played one of the Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz. I'll stuff that man into a baby Bjorn. Take him out for a date night. We'll have a lovely time.
And my last special, I talked about this when my son was born, because I didn't have a daughter at that time. When my son was born and the doctor handed me my son. It's crazy as a father because I knew I would die for him, right? And I don't even know this dude. He could be a terrible human being, but I would die for him, you know? But when they handed me my daughter, oh, it was different. I was like, oh, okay. I would kill for you. I became a murderer overnight. Because the family dynamic to me is crazy. Like, I would die for my son, I would kill for my daughter. But here's what's crazy. I wouldn't kill for my wife. Because that's not my job. That's her father's job. I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
You know, but like, I love my wife, but she's from a different town in rural Tennessee. Like, her blood ain't top shelf or nothing, you know? Like, let's be honest. Like, my wife's blood is like boxed wine, you know? It's like, it's nobody's favorite, but people can handle it in a pinch, you know? My blood's just moonshine made in a radiator, dude. Like, it's just poison. That's all it is, right? So I worry all the time about how my kids are gonna turn out, right? But believe it or not, living in Los Angeles has kind of helped me with this, because like, you live in LA, you look around, you see plenty of rich white kids that are all up too, you know? And it makes me feel better. I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's not about the blood, maybe it's just a crapshoot either way, right? But I gotta say, I feel like that's another way in which they're different is childhood trauma. Because like rich white kids are like, yeah, my mother was never very emotionally available, and I've got a lot of residual psychological scarring from that. And white trash kids are like, I got beat with a tire iron. I have actual scars from that.
We were bound to bump heads, man, but we're also both in therapy. And I don't know if you've ever fought with a healthy person. But it's annoying. Because we'd get into these big blow-up fights, right? Where we would just yell at each other, and then I'd storm out, right? And I'd have time to process. And I'd come back in, and I'd be like, ugh. I realize my reaction to the previous situation is based on trauma from a former relationship that I shouldn't bring into this current space. Don't get too excited, baby girl. And then my husband would come in, and he'd be like, ugh. I want you to know that I hear you, and I see you. I was like, I hate us. I don't want to be us, I want to jump us. I don't like us. I come from a family where you flip a table to make a point, you know what I'm saying? Like, this feels too healthy, you know what I'm saying?
I got married about a year and a half ago. Thank you. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, thank you very much. It was my second marriage. My second marriage. I'd been married before. And I thought marriage is such a sacred, holy, once-in-a-lifetime thing. Let's do it again. But even though it was my second marriage, it was my wife's first. So you still got to go all in. You know, you can't cheap out. You can't do the Forrest Gump, 6 people in the backyard. You're spending money. You're spending money. But even though it's her first time and it's a big deal, you've done it. It is the second time on the roller coaster. It's like, are you scared? No, it goes up and down and around and dancing and cake. It's fine. It's not a big deal. That's what they do. We're gathered together before God. No, I know. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah. With the ring and the cake and the yeah. Till death do you part. Sure thing, boss. Whatever you say. Whatever makes you happy, boss. That's what they say. Till death do you part. That's just God's way of saying, I can get you out of this. It's a little extreme. The way I see it, I didn't get divorced. I cheated death.
I have 2 kids, and I also have 50% custody of the kids. And, well, if you know anything about that, you know that's a lot of custody. I've actually sat down and worked it out. That's half of my time. And that's real time. That you don't get back. It's real. Again, I love my kids very much. But it's time to go to your mom's house. I have a 12-year-old daughter, and she will not shut the up, man. Oh my God. Again, I like her a lot. She's probably in my top 5. I just don't know how to tell her any other way. I don't give a flying about Ariana Grande.
And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from this wild ride of being someone not at all cut out to have kids, and yet I have this big family, is whether you're a parent or you're an aunt or an uncle, if you work with kids in any capacity, you have to connect with them in a way that is authentic to you, even if it looks a little different. And it took me a while to learn this. When I was a young mom, I thought that all moms were supposed to do glitter crafts with kids. I very quickly learned that if I ever do glitter crafts with young children again, the only result of that's going to be that I will be the most sparkly person in the psych ward. Cannot do it. But I realized, look, if it involving your family in some absolutely grandiose plan that sounds amazing and exciting, and you have not thought through any details about how you are actually going to make this happen, I am your woman.
I spent a lot of my younger years so judged because I didn't speak Spanish well enough for the people around me that I just stopped altogether and didn't learn till I was older. And here's the thing, I'm also 3rd generation. And if you're 3rd generation, then you know what I'm talking about. By the time I came around, everybody had assimilated already. So English was the norm in our household. When my parents were growing up, it was different. They spoke Spanish only inside the house. But that's because at that time, there was something called a gag law, where Puerto Ricans could not display a Puerto Rican flag or speak or sing any patriotic songs. So it was dangerous to speak Spanish outside of the house. So for me, I didn't speak it in the house, only spoke English. So I learned it from all of my coworkers when I started working. And all of my coworkers were Mexican. Yeah. So my Spanish is very confusing. Because I'm a Puerto Rican who speaks Spanish with a Mexican accent, but uses Puerto Rican and Mexican terminology. My Spanish sounds like what a ransom note looks like. Like, people who are fluent in Spanish hear me speak Spanish and they're like, where are you from? I don't know, man, I'm trying to figure it out. My son does, he speaks Spanish, but he's nervous in Spanish, so he like whispers in Spanish. I know, it's adorable and creepy, huh? Kids do not know the rules of whispering, so they just like do it whenever. I'll be like washing the dishes and behind me I hear, siete. Mommy's gonna burn some sage now. Try to get the demon of Columbus out of you.
You could have been dumb, dude. There's so much dumb out there, man. We're in a new pandemic right now. It's a stupidity pandemic, okay? There's a whole lot of dumb out there, all right? It's real easy to be dumb. That's why. You ever tried it? It's fun. It's kind of fun. You're right about everything. It doesn't matter. Someone disagrees with you, you call them one of the phobics or like an ist of some sort. You know what I mean? And you're good to go. You know? What's your name, dude? Adam? Fascist. Fascist Adam. Good luck going back to work on Monday. Okay? You're done. There's so much dumb in this country. There's a lot of smart in this country, clearly, but there's a lot of dumb too. Like sometimes I feel like half of this country is running around like, oh, tap water's gonna turn us all gay. And then the other half of the country is like, well, maybe we should all be gay. And it's just a nightmare that I'm trapped in between. It's insane. And it's dangerous, it's contagious, dude. The dumb is contagious, it's contagious. You don't want to catch that stupid 19, dude. You don't want to catch it, dude. Because if you catch the dumb, if you get too dumb, you only have two possible outcomes. If you get too dumb, you either die from stupidity or you become president. That's it. That's it. Those are your two options. Y'all don't even know what president I'm talking about. That's crazy. You don't know. Am I talking about the old white guy or the older, whiter guy? You don't know. It's crazy. We're in a stupidity pandemic. I'll give you a couple examples, right? So I have a buddy of mine that I grew up with. Politically, we're a little bit different. Like politically, he's very far left, and when it comes to politics, I'm non-binary. So but he believes in like crazy, right? Like he thinks the news is always telling the truth, and like Joe Biden is still alive, like crazy, you know? Okay. All right. Well, now that's too much. All right, relax. This is a comedy show, not a rally, okay? We're here to laugh, not start a movement. You know what I mean? We're at a house party recently, and he comes up to me, and he says this, word for word. This is how dumb things have gotten. He comes up to me, and he's like, bro, honestly, dude, at this point, dude, if you haven't gotten the vaccine yet, dude, get your ass out the country, dude. Swear to God, bro, it's the only thing you can do to take care of your body, bro. Can you name one other thing, dude? I bet you can't, dude. I bet you can't name one other thing, dude. I bet you can't name one other thing you do, dude. I bet you can't name one other thing you can do to take care of your health, dude. Damn right, bro, because the only thing that you can do to take care of your health is to get the vaccine, dude. So which one did you get? Like, yo, relax. I'll give you another example of stupidity. The Washington Redskins changed their team name, right? They were the Redskins a couple years ago. They wanted to change the team name because it was cultural appropriation and offensive to a certain group of people, right? And I saw that, and I was like, cool, change it. Why would I care? I got hobbies, okay? You know what I mean? Somebody's upset, change the team name. Make it something cooler, you know what I mean? Did you see what they changed it to? The Washington Commanders, okay? So not the Redskins that got pillaged and murdered, They changed it to all the white did the pillaging and murdering, dude. That's crazy. They might as well change it to the Washington Christopher Columbus's. That's nuts. That's like the LA Lakers changing their team name to the LA LAPDs, okay? and making the new logo a freeway sign with 2 police batons in the middle. It's like every year there's some new dumbness that we got to deal with, you know? But if you stay conscious about it, you can avoid it. That's the whole thing. You got to be conscious about the dumb so you can avoid it, you know? I try to elevate my consciousness every year. I just celebrated a birthday recently. Was anybody else here born? Sir, you might have been hatched. We don't know. I'm hitting a spot in my life now where I could tell how old I am, like not even by the years though. Like the age doesn't matter. I can tell how old I am by the types of injuries I get when I wake up in the morning. You know what I mean? You got to that spot yet? I woke up a couple of weeks ago. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, right? First thing in the morning. I'm sitting right here, edge of my bed. I look left. I pulled my neck right there. You ever hurt yourself looking in a direction? It'll make you question ever looking that way again, ever. Because for like a week after that, anytime someone would say, "Hey, Brent," I'd be like, "What's up, dude?" "What's good, dog? We going out? Where do you want to go?" "This way, probably, right?" It's pain.
Are you guys petty? I'm petty. But I'm also a little sweetie. But I'm also petty. Sometimes I can be petty mayonnaise, bitch. I was just thinking so fondly about the time that this flat earther told me that I was too young to understand why the earth is flat. But all I heard was, "You're very young." And I was like, "Thank you, Flat Daddy." Say it again, baby, one more time. So young, Flat Daddy. You guys are like, Kyrie Irving called you young? No, but for real, do you think when Kyrie Irving looks at a basketball, he sees a frisbee? Just kidding. It actually wasn't Kyrie Irving who said that to me, if you can believe it. It was actually Mark Sargent, the leader of the Flat Earth movement, who said this to me during a live Comedy Central taping. This is true. All my bits are true, unlike other comedians. But I just love the idea of a flat earther telling me, a genius, why my brain is too limited to understand why the earth is flat. I was like, "Mark, ever heard of satellite photography? Mark? I don't see any pictures of frisbee planets. Mark? You think this shit is like the spinning coins in Mario Kart? Mark?" And then I said what had to have been the quickest, most incredible off-the-cuff question in case any of you guys ever face off against a flat earther. I said, "Mark." I said, "Mark?" I said, "Mark, Mark, Mark, Mark. If your theory is correct, how come not one person in the entire history of our good planet has ever walked off the edge of the earth, Mark?" And then he said, "No, you young young girl. You young, fresh, supple, nubile, young, fresh, supple, nubile, young girl. There's an ice barrier. I was like, oh, ice barrier. That must be what happens to a woman's when they hear you say flat earth.
I now feel if you want to feel generally positive about the current state of the United States of America on a global cultural scale, what you need to do is you need to watch 90 Day Fiancé on TLC, because you watch that shit and you realize America must be doing something right, dude. Because people all around this world are lining up, doing whatever it takes, throwing it all away just for the chance to make it somewhere in the Midwest. They don't give a where they end up, dude. They'll do anything, up to and including marrying the biggest jabroni in the state of Ohio, gladly. They'll interview this guy on there. He's like, yeah, my name's Jason. I'm a 35-year-old dodgeball coach. And ever since my mom kicked me out, I've been looking for Miss Right, you know, like the type of woman that knows how to load the dishwasher and keep her mouth shut during Buckeyes games, that type of thing, right? And you're listening like, I don't like your chances, Jason. You don't seem like much of a catch to me. Then they cut to some beautiful girl in Estonia or somewhere like that, just like, Jason is man of my dreams. I often fantasize about being with him and eating hamburger helper off of pepper plate.
My dad has spent his whole life running from himself. His whole fucking life. What's going on? Get the car, get the dog. We're going to the beach now. You can relax, Dad. We're on holidays. We could be on holidays faster. Dad treats life like a race. It's like a job to get done. Get born, grow up, meet someone, get married, have kids, retire, dead. Good, done. Done, good. Life's done. Good. What's next? Looks like the afterlife needs a mow. Let's mow the afterlife. Let's get that job done. Dad never looks inward. He's just going, you won't get me, life. I'm going too quick to feel. You won't catch me. I wish I was like that, you know, just running through life, leaving a wake of mentally ill children behind me.
Saw the new It movie earlier this year. That was pretty good. That's pretty good. I wouldn't have been able to see that many years ago because I was too scared of clowns. I used to be really scared of clowns because of a childhood incident. When I was a little kid, about 7 years old, wasn't supposed to be watching, you know, like HBO, those kind of channels, but I'd always try and sneak it. And one time I started watching it, and it was this movie Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist, right? If you've seen that movie, you know that there's a scene, there's a little boy, maybe like 8 or 9 years old, somewhere around there, and he has this clown doll sitting in the corner of his room. And then when the house goes crazy with all this like demonic activity, you know, one night he wakes up and the clown doll's gone, it's under his bed, tries to strangle him. Well, unfortunately for me, that clown doll wasn't a prop made for the movie. It was just a regular clown doll that you could buy at any toy store that I happened to have an exact replica of. It was my favorite toy for whatever reason, sitting in the corner of my room. It was so close to the movie. At that point, it's like I'm not even watching the movie. It's like I'm looking through a wormhole into my own horrific future. So I completely panic, but I don't want to tell my mom because I'm going to get in trouble. You know, if she finds out I'm watching something I'm not supposed to. So I think, I got to deal with this in-house. And in my little kid brain, what made sense was to take the clown doll downstairs, hang him from a doorknob, and just kind of work him for about 30 minutes. Just punch him and kick him and talk tough. You know, you're not gonna strangle me, stupid clown. And then that backfired. Because about 20 minutes into the beating, I thought, well, if he wasn't upset before, now he's legitimately angry. He has a reason to try and strangle me. So I threw him in the trash. And that's where the story should have ended. And would have ended if my mom hadn't taken out the trash that night and thought, oh, hey, Danny threw away his favorite toy by mistake. I'll just put him back in the corner of his room while he's asleep. Worst case scenario. I woke up early the next morning to use the bathroom, about lost my mind. Clowny, magically back in the corner, staring at me, and he seemed angry. He seemed angry to me. Had recurring nightmares for weeks after that. Became phobically afraid of clowns for a long time. But then I got over it. You know, you gotta face your fears, that's what they say. You gotta face them head on. So I was proud of myself. A couple years ago, I didn't like it. It was hard, but I went to the circus alone. A couple clowns came out and I wanted to leave. They're pretty creepy, but I thought, no, you're not gonna win again. I stayed for the entire circus performance. And then I had the courage, when the circus was over, to find one of those clowns and follow him home. Let's see how you like it. And I waited for him to fall asleep, and I snuck in his house, and I sat in the corner of his room. And when he woke up, you should have seen the look on his face. The smile was painted on, but the tears were real.
But I will say this, I have never seen the pile of guff that you people get. Everyone younger than the Gen X, so much guff. So much guff. You've caused everything. You've done everything wrong. My favorite thing you've done wrong, I don't know if you know this, but you don't know how to read maps. Did you hear about that? You don't know how to read them. We used to read maps all the time. They don't know how to read maps. They're always looking at their devices. They don't know how to read maps. They're always looking at their devices. I have this to say. I was there in the 80s. There was some map usage. Not as much as has been reported. We mostly use people. I would call you. I would go, I live here, you live there. How do I get there? I'd write down the directions on a piece of paper. I'd leave that piece of paper on the kitchen table. I'd get into my car and drive as far as I remember. And then I'd pull over and go to a gas station or a grocery store and call you again. Where do you live from here, I'd say. So you were not fighting a pile of Magellans. We don't know how to read the stars either. If I see a tree and it has moss on it, I absolutely never think to myself, ooh, north. I think dirty tree. Dirty.
I've got to be a better person for my children. I can't let them see who I really am. Look away, children. Don't look at Mama in the eye. Look away. The only way I know how to parent my children is to lie to them. We all lie to our children. Every parent lies to our children, particularly when they're young. There's three fundamental lies that we say to our kids, yeah? Number one, Father Christmas. Apparently he's a thing. Yeah, we've all agreed that, not just in this country, it seems to be international. We've all agreed that Father Christmas is a thing. I say to my kids, now listen, don't you talk to strangers, especially any strange men, right? But Christmas night, some big fat fella will be popping into your bedroom to drop off some presents, okay? I know it's a mixed message, but don't worry about it. Number two, the tooth fairy. My kids are not freaked out by this at all. They have accepted this. We have told them that some tiny little... What is it? Some tiny little thing is going to be buzzing around at night. It's going to nip their teeth and leave some money under the pillow, and they're like, Mama, I can't wait. Surely that's the stuff of nightmares, isn't it? Can you imagine going to sleep at night knowing that was going to happen? You wouldn't be able to sleep. You'd be like that. Where is it? Is it? Number three, the biggest lie of all that we say to our children, and that is, everything's gonna be all right. We have to say that. We have to say that to our kids for when we are confronted by questions from our children. Questions, right? Questions like this. Mama, I've got a question for you, Mama. Mama, 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 Mama. Whatever the fuck it is, could you just get on with it, mate? Because this is really painful, okay? So just let me know what it is, okay? Mama, does Lovely. Okay, now listen. 2 things, okay? First, what are we going to do about that speech impediment? We'll circle back to that. And second, now listen. Of course, it doesn't mean that we're all gonna die. Okay, darling? It doesn't mean that. All it means is that the planet's got a bad tum-tum. The planet not feeling very well. But if we all do our bit, you know what? We can make the planet feel better. Oh, Mama, I want to make the planet feel better, so I'm gonna take my paper straw and I'm gonna put it in the recycling. Oh, darling. You do that. You do that. Because it's gonna make all difference. Because the planet's on fire, okay? You can't say that to your kids. You gotta offer them some hope, some optimism, even though you know in 20 years' time they're gonna get sunburnt in January holidaying in Dundee. You can't say that to them.
I grew up a little bit sheltered. I think I was one of those kids that played by myself a lot. I had a big imagination. I grew up in Kentucky. I was around horses. I always wanted to be like a cowgirl, right? But my cousins always made fun of me because they were a lot more country than me. They said I was a city kid because I grew up on a cul-de-sac. And I will say, though, we had different childhoods. Okay, the biggest difference between a country kid and a city kid is the country kids, they grow up with farm animals, right? And they're a lot more exposed to the circle of life. Like city kids were a lot more sheltered. Like, you know, when we have a pet, we put a little, we'll put a little sweater on them. Oh, isn't that cute? Oh. And country kids, they put butter on theirs. And they eat it, okay? Country kids, they see death before breakfast. And then they have that death for breakfast. I remember even recently, I went to my cousin's farm that she's raising her 3 kids on, and I was talking to Knox. That's her oldest kid. He's 6. He's telling me how he's helping his daddy with the baby calves. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool, Knox. What are you doing? You helping feed bottles? And he goes, no, I gotta throw rocks at the buzzards. Because when the calves are born, the buzzards like to circle around up top, and then they dive down and they peck the calves' eyeballs till they can't see no more, and then they can't nurse, and then after a few days they starve to death. Then the buzzards get to eat them for supper, so I got the rocks to the buzzards because Daddy says the government won't let us shoot the bastards. I was like, yeah, I get it. No, I did the same thing, man. When I was your age, I had to feed my gerbil, so. And one time it disappeared, and my mom was like, don't worry, it just got to shed its winter coat. And sure enough, next day it reappeared, a whole new color. I had this like little brown boy gerbil. Next day, white girl rabbit. What's up? I'm telling you, these country people, they are so much more at ease with death. I even remember when I was 6 years old, my parents took me to the Kentucky State Horse Park for my birthday because I was obsessed with horses. You gotta go. It's in Lexington, Kentucky. There's horses you can pet. There's horses you're not allowed to pet, but you can look them in the eyes and cry. It's Disneyland for middle children. I'm so excited. I'm 6. My birthday party, right? I'm standing outside the front of the park, and I'm looking at a statue of a famous racehorse named Man of War. When all of a sudden this hillbilly fairy shows up out of a tobacco cloud. He looks like Tinker Bill. Yeah, and he leans over and he goes, "Oh, Man of War down there." And I was like, whoa. What? And he goes, the whole man of war down there. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend. And he goes, no, the whole man of war is buried down there. He goes, usually when horses die, we gotta chop them up. And I was like, oh, I'm 6. I know I'm a big kid now, but this is day 1, so that's a lot to take in. And he just doubles down. He goes, usually we cut out the heart and hooves and just bury that. Represent spirit and the speed. And I was like, oh, did my mom hire you for the party? I go, what do you do with the unicorn? He goes, what? I was like, well, the magic part. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, I have a girlfriend. And he